Hey everybody, welcome back to No Jumper News. It's Adam22 here with your man AD. Let's get right into these stories. So first things first, Chrissy Teigen has apologized for harassing a then teenage Courtney Stodden online years ago. The offensive tweets in question include Chrissy Teigen saying, "My Friday fantasy, you dirt nap. Baby." And in another one, she requested that Courtney Stodden go to sleep forever. On Wednesday, in a long thread, Chrissy tweeted her public apology saying, "Not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for all their past bullshit in front of the entire world. I'm mortified and sad at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I am ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior, but that is nothing compared to how I made Courtney feel. I have worked so hard to give you guys joy and be beloved, and the feeling of letting you down is nearly unbearable. Truly, these were not my only mistakes and surely won't be my last, as hard as I try, but God, I will try." She continued, "I have tried to connect with Courtney privately, but since I publicly fueled all this, I want to also publicly apologize. I'm so sorry, Courtney. I hope you can heal now knowing how deeply sorry I am." But Candace Owens does not believe that forgiveness should come so easy and blasted Chrissy for treating people like dirt after she expressed regret for cyberbullying the reality TV personality as a teen. With more than 13 million followers on Twitter, Chrissy was in her mid-20s when she harassed 16-year-old Courtney Stodden and urged her to end their life. Addressing the controversy, Candace tweeted, "Chrissy Teigen has offered a public apology to Courtney Stodden for encouraging her to commit suicide as a teenager, but only because I blew the story up. The media has given Chrissy a pass for years as she has monstrously attacked people repeatedly for simply existing." Since then, more tweets have emerged in which Chrissy called on other public figures like Lindsay Lohan and Sarah Palin to kill themselves as well. Courtney Stodden told the Daily Beast that Chrissy's harassment and that of many others came as they faced intense media criticism at age 16 for marrying 51-year-old Doug Hutchinson in 2011. The two divorced as of last year. On Instagram, Courtney wrote that they accept Chrissy's apology and forgive her, but have suspicions about Chrissy's motives, adding that they have never heard from Chrissy or her camp in private. She also noted that Chrissy has them blocked on Twitter. "I accept her apology and forgive her, but the truth remains the same. I have never heard from her or her camp in private. In fact, she blocked me on Twitter. All of me wants to believe that this is a sincere apology, but it feels like a public attempt to save her partnerships with Target and other brands who are realizing that her wokeness is a broken record." I think the irony of Chrissy Teigen being exposed for basically having been a horrible person on the internet back in the day is pretty profound, because she's always like one of the first people to be trying to cancel people for some shit that they did 10 years ago. So to see this blatant evidence that she was out here bullying people and telling them to kill themselves back in the day, I mean, it's like beyond hypocritical. The whole thing about Chrissy Teigen too is that she took a Twitter break back in March and like claimed that she was off the website for good, and then she's left for like 3 weeks and then she just came right back. And it's like, I don't know, this is the problem with a lot of these holier than thou people who want you to believe that they're the greatest fucking person on earth, and then stuff like this comes out and it's like, oh, you only started acting like this once you got so famous that it became imperative for you to do that in order for your career to keep on going.
Keep the same energy and keep the same energy for yourself. You know, everybody that be casting that first stone, it don't feel too good when that shit comes back around to hit you in the face and shit like that. You know what I'm saying, John Legend? Man, you need to watch your sitch, man. You know what I mean? She gonna fuck up the shit for you, bro. Like, nah, we ain't having that out here.
And the whole thing, though, is that Chrissy Teigen, I don't really even think it's that bad. When you look back to like what the internet was like in 2013 or whatever, it's like that kind of stuff was just totally normal. It wasn't the same world. And I hate seeing people sort of apply like today's modern standards to stuff that happened 10 years ago and try to use it to paint people as being terrible people. Like, should Chrissy Teigen apologize? Yeah, sure. But is she a horrible person because she made this joke that looks bad in, 9 years later? I don't really think it's that serious, but again, this is what she does. This is her thing. Like, she has done this countless times to so many people. So the idea that she should get any sympathy or anybody should feel bad for her is just ridiculous. I hope all her sponsors drop her just because she needs to be taught a lesson. Boom!
Target that. Next story. Some people praise Mace's attitude towards gang culture, but those genuinely in touch with the lifestyle were not impressed by his Instagram critique. On day 3 of his 22 Days of Speaking My Mind campaign, Mace unleashed an attack against gang culture, calling all young black men who join them to be less than individuals. I know what I'm about to say is unpopular, but it still needs to be said. The weakest thing a black man can do today is join a street gang. The person who you're writing for today ends up getting a bag to kill you or sending you to jail. Think about it. What type of person would ask ask you to hurt your own people and take an oath to be there for your gang only to end up not being there for your children and family. I never understood that. During a conversation with Hip Hop DX, Glasses Malone shared his thoughts and insinuated Mace should not only understand the delicacy of the situation, but use his resources a little better than Instagram posts. Over the years, I've noticed different things with Mace, being critical of people that come from the kind of background that he comes from, and for him to act totally clueless and ignorant to it is kind of ridiculous. I kind of feel bad for him, ever even saying that. He continued, Mace is fucking tripping. He knows why kids join gangs. This is not new, especially since everybody's reason for joining is different. Most of the time, you're from where you're from before you claim. Everybody else is going to tell you where you're from, for the most part. And if people are your friends, like gangbanging ain't nothing but a bunch of players who are trying to survive. Glasses also recognize while some of the rules of the game have changed, the overall concept remains the same. Now you see a bunch of strangers getting together and then united under a street moniker or street sign. But real gangbanging in its essence, or the one I participated in, is really a bunch of friends trying to survive in the place, having a different franchise, and completely lacks opportunity altogether. That's all a gang is where I'm from. And representing the gang is representing your friends, representing your background, your struggle, your cultural togetherness. That's all it is. Glasses also stated that he's open to having a direct dialogue with Mace, adding, I would love to have a conversation with Mace about that because I just think that he's too fucking educated to be so stupid and fucking ignorant. Like it makes no sense. He's too in the know to speak, like he doesn't know. So I think maybe just somebody needs to jar his fucking memory back so he can remember exactly what's going on. And then if he really wanted to help with it, but he's still, and the problem is, he can actually help instead of just being there on his brass throne at a church criticizing somebody.
Yeah, Mace at this point, it seems like he just kind of comes around once in a while and just says some shit that just proves that he's totally out of touch with what's going on with the world. Like, if you're a guy in your 40s and you can't look at a 16-year-old kid from a bad neighborhood who basically has to click up with some of his friends to basically survive, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. And you're kind of like being an idiot on purpose because I know that you grew up in these environments where you should know better and you should know that these are the tactics that people basically have to do for self-preservation. And I'm sure that Mace basically was involved in, if not a gang, some sort of crew. I'm sure he had his friends looking out for him to some degree growing up in Harlem and shit. I mean, it just seems super hypocritical, but I am glad that we have somebody like Glasses Malone who can, speak intelligently about this and sort of, he's a guy who's probably been out of the streets for a while, but at least he still has a relevant perspective on this, whereas Mace just seems like he's off in his ivory tower just projecting on people.
First of all, Pastor, let's talk about how you took an advance from fucking Diddy and then didn't drop the album and said you're gonna be fucking holy now and you don't do that again, then try to come back and be Murder Mace, man. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about your goddamn antics and shit. There's a lot of children, bro. I was a child the same exact way that lived in a neighborhood. No matter what, if you go outside, you had to join something for protection and for survival with your friends and shit like that. And so for you to sit there and not or act like people have these choices and it's just that easy, stupid as fuck, man. Take your ass back to the goddamn church. You feel me? You need to pray on that shit.
Both of the stories that we're covering today are basically both people acting holier than thou and acting as if they don't understand the way that the world actually works, which is just super crazy to me. Like with Mace, keep that same energy for all the gangsters out there, okay? Because like if you're gonna say this about some guy and how stupid it is for him to join a gang, whatever, keep that same energy for all of the famous gangster rappers throughout the history of rap, many of which you've been on good terms with, Mace, over the years. Now, what I can't agree with him on is that if you're a grown man and you think that it's a good idea for your career, your image, or whatever it is that you're trying to put out there by just clicking up at some point with a gang when you already have a career and stuff, yes, I agree. That is stupid. And as a man, you don't have to join a gang or whatever to try to be whatever it is you're trying to be. So I get what he's saying in that regard. My problem is that it sort of projects onto like younger people who do this out of necessity, and to me that's just totally unfair.
Yeah, and so many people, they like to criticize instead of trying to help. How about you go to Harlem and help the kids out there that are being affected by gangbanging, put them in programs or something, or give them some damn money, take them to the church. But publicly speaking out when shit that you know and you grew up in that shit, man, that's totally wrong.
YouTube, did you like this? If you did, drop a like on it and drop a comment as well, and also hit the subscribe button. Appreciate y'all.